The next thing where I go do na say I go comment out all of these are select and option code. The reason why I want do am na because say I want show you another way. Well, if you do these options and selections without using this specific approach. Now, by comment out, I mean say I go turn all of this code into comment. Commenting out, they very important for programming because sometimes you go get code for your page where we say you no want make it run, but you also no want delete that from your page. So wetin you go do na say you go turn am into comment so that you go still did your you still fit look and we still fit read am. Other people still fit see am like say na comment, but na code wey be say you just wan leave for there. To comment out for VS Code, you go press Shift Alt and A. You go highlight everything where you want comment out and you go press Shift Alt and A. Of course, if you done manually by writing the syntax of comment where I don't teach you before, but to save yourself the stress of having to write these less than exclamation mark dash dash, you go just highlight everything, press Shift Alt and A, and it will turn everything into comment. Now, after I don't comment out all of these our dig with our select, I go change the information presentation to this quick pair. I will just paste that so that you go save and I will explain everything where I paste. Now, the thing I did and I say I opened paragraph tag. Then inside the paragraph tag, I open label for our input with the 4 for our fruit input. Then under I put our input like text, which I did fruit and main fruit. Then you will see another attribute here will be list attribute and will set them as fruit list. Now this one be linked to our new element here we dey create where I want introduce to you. This new element with the column data list. This data list na in go get the ID of fruit list. Surely say this input will get list attribute as fruit list. It belong to this beta list. Like we take bill for our input and label. Our data list ID too gats correlate with this attribute we set for here. So we gats set our ID of this beta list as fruit list. So inside this data list now, like in we go put our options. It's one of the reasons why it do good to use data list instead of the ways where we did do am before. Like say, if you use this input and data list, when you start to the type inside your input, you go to narrow down the option for you. So you go to show your users when they start to the type, you go to show that the options will match within when they type. So you go fix complete time for them. Now, I will comment out this one and uncomment our previous one. You feel leave her or if you use both of them, you do free to do what you want to choose. Now, to separate our form into separate section, then we go do next. Imagine long form for your website will get different kind of sections. If you put everything together, you go there too clumpy and people will know waiting one part therefore and waiting the other part therefore. Like why we dey lose one specific tag to separate our form into separate section. This tag with the color field set. I will show you how we take the use field set to separate our form into sections. So I will separate piece parts into section using field set. Now, after you write field set, you go add put it with the call legend. This legend gets opening and closing tag as well. And we take the user as caption. So after you separate your form into sections with field set, you fit tell your readers wetin each section be about by using this legend opening and closing tag. Now we go create break and another field set and legend, and then we go add another input and label where I want show you. This new input where I want show you now input type radio. Now I go write my first input type radio with the normal attributes where we don't discuss before. Then I write my label. Then I go copy R and then I go write another one. Now we will use the same name attributes for all of them. Why? Because if you they use the input type radio, you guys use the same name. if you use different name, that means say your users go fit select more than one option. But with radio buttons, radio inputs, usually we dey want make our users select just one. So wetin we go do na we go use the same name for every two, so that once they select one and they wan select another, automatically the one wey they select before go disappear. But if you use the same name, the browser go let them select more than one option. Now, another input type wey I wan show you na checkbox. To show you checkbox, we go do am like the one before. I go copy this one down now, but the input type wey we go use, it could be checkbox. Now, make sure say your ID dey different. No use the same ID everywhere for your phone, even if no be the same section, even if no be the same input path. Make sure say all the IDs really dey use dey unique. Now, with checkboxes, you fit select multiple, because we dey always use am ask our readers, okay, wetin you like among all these options? And if you like more than one, so you fit use more than one option for your checkbox. Now, the last one wey I go show you na text area. I go create break, then I will create another field set and legend. I will call this one send a text message. Then I go add label before I go set am as message. Then I could say write your message. So now instead of input text or all the other inputs wey we don use before, we go use text area. This text area dey get open and closing tag, and e no be like input wey be say like input attribute type equal to something. No, this one we no dey do input or attribute, we dey use text area as opening and closing tag. This one too get attribute, so I go say the name na message, the ID message, the calls and rows attributes. Now it go show how wide and long your text area could be. The default that Betty and beg. Now I go add more attributes like placeholder. For our placeholder, I go say type your message. So now once we see am for our browser, you will see say this text area dey take up more text area than our input wey be say na just one line dey fit input am. This text area dey big so that our users feel like long message to us. And you fit make the text area dey even bigger if you increase your calls and rows attributes. Now, I gats tell you say all of these input types wey we don examine for our form no be the only ones really get o, but na they be the most common wey be say you go most likely use when you start your web development journey. If you come across another one, you fit learn am o, and e dey good to learn as much as you can, but also if you learn too much, you fit dey forget the important ones. Na why with programming, I tell you, no need to cry. Just understand the reasons why we dey do all of these things. Once you understand the core element of all of these things, it will be easy for you to learn more and learn more as you dey practice. Finally, for our fun section, we go talk about button. Now, button na im we take dey use help our readers submit all of the forms wey we don click. Now, to show you the button element, I go first add break, then I go add this button element. All buttons like input, then said we get attributes. The first and most important attribute na the type. Now this type attribute go tell the browser wetin this button dey for, and the most common button type wey we get na the type submit. Between the opening and closing tags, I go write submit now. Now, after this type submit, we get another button type wey be type reset. I go add this button type too beside our type submit. So first button go be type submit, and the second button go be type reset. Type submit dey automatically submit your form. Once you click am, the browser go know say these people dey submit all the data wey they don write inside this form to the URL wey I tell you say we go put for inside our first action attribute for our form opening tag. But since we no dey do backend, we no go submit to any URL. But if you want clear all the P's wey you don type for all our input for your form, if you wan clear everything at once without having to go pair and delete everything one by one, like this type reset button na you go use. So ma just quick do demonstration, ma I write some things inside our input, and then you go see say when I click this button wey be reset, e go automatically clear everything. Now, I got thing is say for your submit button, you fit also use input wey be type submit instead of using button wey be type submit. But the difference between button of type submit and input of type submit na say input of type submit na only text you fit write on top the button. Meanwhile, if you use button of type submit, you fit use other more direct semantics. So it depends on what you want to do, but the most common thing na to use the button of type submit. Thanks, Latin we don't cover for here. You don't see the forms, they're very simple and very interesting. But because if we get different types of all these input as text area and different ways to write the same pill and different ways to submit, sometimes people will find them unprepared. But for real, this thing be easy. If you find them complicated, if you tap, go back off, do and again, write time as I the right time, or just watch the video again. Try to understand some things where you don't understand. You go see say if you do one once or twice, you say if you could don't turn pro for forms. Also, once you start to be work as professional web developer, you go realize say you no go dey need to write forms from scratch. You go dey use plenty libraries and framework wey they don create for you already. Maybe you go just import to your React project or any other front-end framework where you could use. Now you will take and do your fun. But for now, you don't know the basic things about fun. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You don't learn HTML. You don't learn so many things about HTML. You don't learn about the different tags where we get. You don't learn the attributes. You don't learn how to undo images. You don't learn how to use divs and spans and inline elements and block elements. You don't even learn fonts. Locked in, we say you know sabi about HTML now. You be guru. But after you don't made HTML, what's next? But the questions where people be asked, that's a very important question, because with HTML alone, you know if you call yourself web developer. If you call yourself web developer engineering, but your journey is still remain. So what will be the next? The next thing now to practice and maybe even build small websites with just HTML. For my paid course, I get very simple websites you can go build with HTML, just HTML, and the website could still look fine. Get after you do one simple project with HTML, the next thing is to learn CSS. My CSS video, full CSS video, there this page, free of charge. You go figure out learn CSS, and then you will do some projects too with CSS. And then after, you go enter JavaScript. Like JavaScript, you go take, apply nice movements and dynamism to your website so that your website go come alive. I will also get 3 JavaScript course for this channel for you to watch and understand the basics of all of these programming languages. Once you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you self go fit call yourself web developer. Although before you fit start to be work as web developer properly, you need to learn React. React self go dey please YouTube channel. No fear. All of these things are very simple things to learn. You don't learn HTML. So while you know fit learn CSS, while you know fit learn JavaScript, and while you know fit learn React, your journey be start, but you did on the right track. Thank you for your attention to the mapper.